Okay, so what I'm going to do is set this up, and I'm going to delete this one so we can start over. Set it up looking for the trap, but I'm going to make my own T-line. I want a different T-line. I'm not going to use the normal. You'll see what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to click on the plus sign and just type in trap, and then some bear traps will come up and 2 bull traps. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the user-defined trap. So we're going to click on that. And then notice you have parameters over here. The first one, we're using the number, the shortest EMA, which we're going to use the 3, and that's what we normally use. But I'm going to set that to the close. And then we're going to go around over here to the longest, which is the 8 or the T-line. Now I'm going to change this to close. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change this. I already told you wrong. We're going to use the 8. And then what I'm going to do is click over here. And I'm actually going to use the low. So what I've done is I'm using the same 3 that we've always used, but I'm going to use the lower line of the 8. And what that does is it gives you more space between the 3 and the 8, and it will allow a few more choices to come in there. Now, it's still not going to alert until it breaks out of the 3, but what it'll do is give you a few more. It's not so tight, because it could be where it's the chart we want, but maybe where it was or it's been, it might not read. It's so tight in there, sometimes between the 3 and the 8, 3 EMA and 8. So we'll do that. Now I'm just going to leave this on the all stock, all US symbols on the scanner here. We're not going to put any trend in it or anything. Let's just leave it like this. And then what I'm going to do is name it. So trap, I'm going to go 3 by 8 low. And let's just type out low because I'm going to forget what that is. How's that? 3 by 8 low, trap 3 by 8 low. Let's do that. And then let's see here. And then I'll try to, there, can you guys see that? Here, I can pull that down, I guess. There we go. Pull this down a little bit. There you go. And then I just have it marked. I want to see new highs. I have it marked on the daily. So we're all good with that. It says to rescan it, so I'm going to rescan that. And then also we want to make this true. So I'm going to click on that box right there. Looks like there's 138 possibilities. That's an awful lot. It really is. But remember, we're not looking at any trend. We're looking at everything in the scanner. Now what I'm going to have to do is move this down. There we are, create window. So I'm going to create the window. All right, let me get rid of this monster. There we go. And while that's pulling things up, it'll take that one a bit. Here's one that I've already got working. Here's AEO. And you see how tight that might have been. See what the red and green dots right there. Here, let me put up the T line so you can. Let's put that on there and let's make it nice and fat. Let's change that to that. There you go. See how that's kind of changed that a little bit, rather than looking at the trap between the standard T line. I'm looking at the trap on the low of the T line. And what it does is it pulls up just a few different, choices. Okay, here the new scan is popping up now. We can go look at it. So let's just see what this does. And remember, we have no trend here or anything. But you see how, that would never show up right here because the T line is actually above. So it just gives another little, dimension, another way to look at a chart, a little bit more. I don't know if it's good for some or not so good. I mean, I may not enter a chart early. Well, a lot of times I do, But what I don't want to do is miss the preparation. I mean, I might want to put this on my watch list for preparation, or it might be a stock that I want to buy into. Now, this looks like this is a legit one, using the regular 8 EMA. So there's one setting up. Here's our ANF again coming up. There's ANF. And see, ANF actually wouldn't come up. The way the chart looks, I don't think it would have come up because here, let me move the T line. I'm going to change that to the low, and you'll see what I mean. Look where we are now. See where we are? So that a little bit of a difference. Here's GDX. There's GDX. Man, look at that. That looks pretty good right here. But now let's put the T line back to I use a lot the low, close, average by 3, which gives you just an average. See there? I'm not sure that would have actually shown up. So it just gives a new way to look at it. Just a different. So let's see. I better change this back. Let's see. There we go. So I'm going to put that back there, and let's put this back there, and then we can give it a little line in there. There we go. Here's AAPS. Man, look at that chart. AAPS. And we're getting alerted right now. AG. Look at AG. That would have come up on the normal without changing the 8 EMA to the low. So anyway, thanks for the question, by the way. For those with a scanner, that might be one little thing you take a look at. If you still want to know more about the trap, join Doug Tuesday night. I did not know that's what he was talking about. So join Doug Tuesday night, and he will talk more about the trap there. So as we get closer to the close, we've got about 40 minutes before the close today, Monday, July 29th. And so far the bulls have done a pretty good job. They've held us up. Pretty narrow range day. More than anything, I personally think that, the market is waiting for the Fed decision. And, of course, you've got the trade, the trade folks meeting again. So it's so close. Most investors, traders are probably waiting for something to shake loose, waiting for a little piece of news to shake the market a little bit. Overall, I think the market is still bullish. There's nothing about today that would suggest it's not. We've run up. We're still putting in that continuation pattern until we break down. And below 300, I'd be a little concerned. Below 297, I think I'd be real concerned. But right now, we're just trending up here. If you take a look at VIX, there we go. We've talked about this putting in a base right here. And I think this is just putting in some good construction. I don't think it's going to do anything or tell us anything until one of two things happen. One thing would be a breakout, and I think that would be very telling. The other would be a complete breakdown, and I think that would be telling. But while we're in this area, it's just a lot of noise and a lot of construction. So that's what I'm watching for, is for either that breakout or that breakdown. A couple of charts I like. ANF, I think ANF is setting up to pop a little higher. Let's stay here for a second. ANF, it is a RBB setup, and I'm looking at the target, the trade anyway, up to the 200. It may run further, but that's what I'd be looking for if I was in it. Good finish today. What we'd need to see is follow through over that line. Let me put another line up there. There we go. Put another line up there, so over 1890. That would put that in a pretty nice bullish chart pattern. Another one is this CONN. We just talked about this one a little bit ago. It came up on the scanner. In CONN here, like I say, if you saw a little earlier, I had the trap set up, and it was breaking out of the trap here. Another RBB setup. The 34 has crossed the 50-day simple moving average. Got a nice bottom forming here. The trend is still working here. We've tested the dotted deuce. So the next thing I'd look for is the red line, what we call the dotted deuce, or a little bit higher. And if we get a little higher, we're going to get into this area right there. And I think if we can get here, I think we can get up to the 200. And that puts this trade in the neighborhood of 14-15% just on the stock. And if it's an option, it would be even more. Another one I kind of like is AGI. AGI. Let's go back over here. That's another one that we just looked at because of the trap scan. But it's pulled back. Well, here let me draw some lines here. Rallied up. We've pulled back. A little consolidation here. Started that new low, high, higher low, higher high. We have broken out now. We're putting in a nice little tight box, waiting for the pop. Waiting for the pop. And that's what I would probably wait for is, that pop. Let me make that a little smaller. There we go. We break out, we pull back and test. We look for those buyers to start stepping in, and I think that might make a decent trade. So I'm bullish above that box on a breakout. On that ANF, I was talking about that. I forgot to go. I would personally buy that, except I'm already in calls. Currently up 25.5%. We've taken out our first line here. We may pull back a little bit and rest a little bit. It's been pretty nice, but I'm willing to hold into that rest until I see a sell signal. Just looking for that next line up here. Now, this 55.35, it makes that. So say tomorrow we do some kind of big move up. We grab that. I got to tell you, I'm going to micromanage from there. And we start to see some selling. I'm not going to be ashamed about taking my money off the table around that area right there. So anyway, there's a few ideas for you coming up tomorrow.